Hello and welcome back to Blueprints, day 43. And we are still on that bookstore grind. We have one book left to buy, and then we never have to draft that room again. Well, I don't know about that, but at least for now. You know, I've kind of been looking over a new clue here a bit more. And there's just so much stuff in here. We obviously need to get the magnifying glass to get everything out of it. But I mean, just take this page here. Like all of this stuff. He doubled the meaning of each seasonal greeting. Merry is merry. Gates, gates, right? Like the... I'm not sure what to do with this yet. This doesn't really help me at all. It just... I know it will in the future, possibly, and it it worries me. I looked at this. Lore equals word, your equals name, and it kinda reminded me of this mathematics worksheet. It has the OR here, like lore and your, but I'm not sure. This is 7 here. Is that supposed to be an L, or I'm not sure what to do with that information anyways, but it is interesting nonetheless. Wait, hang on, actually 100, that's the exact same thing as here. 100. There's a 1 up here. Or is this an... This might be... No, these are I's, aren't they? They're not 1s, and these are O's, not 0s. So there's supposed to be an I up here. There was also like this down here. I thought about the suspect is a key, but if we look closely, this looks like when you're trying to remote into another terminal on the computers, and the suspect is a key. Maybe we can press the A key while on that screen and something happens. I mean, that's a bit of a stretch, but because there's a dot here after the A, so it's like it's short for something. The suspect is A dot key. It also said the suspect is minor. Is the suspect a minor key? I don't know, man. But anyway, let's get on with the run. See if we can get some luck with a magnifying glass today. Okay, library. Did we order a book? We did not. Maybe we should do that. I kind of want to order the new clue again, but I guess we can order something else. We need to look at everything anyway, right? History of Orindia. This is the newer version, right? The one we already did, I think. Let's do Curse of Blackbridge then. Bookstore? Well, there it is. We don't really have the funds yet. Yeah, History of Orindia first edition. That's all we have left. Well, let's see if we can get the treasure trove then. Okay, well there it is. Very nice. This did also kill the run, but I guess it's fine. We have one key for this too. Open up. Boxes marked with moon always contain false statements. Wait, this box does have a moon on it. Nice paradox, bro. I mean, this is literally a paradox, isn't it? This gave us nothing. Because if this is true, that would mean that this box is false, which would make the note false. But if the note is false, that would mean the box could be true. Wait, is there any other things for this? We have nothing for black boxes. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll get something for black boxes later. But let's go and get that book. Gimme. And I think we are done for today. We can't get into the foundation because we don't have a key card. It's actually crazy how quickly you can get items if you know what to do or what to look for. I did get that code check just in case we found a magnifying glass, but no luck it seems. Right, checked in my shovel, and I guess we're just gonna have to call it a day. Day 44. Let's see if we can get that elusive magnifying glass. Bro, I'm literally gaining the same draw again with the workshop playing code check. Let's go for the conservatory though. Let's adjust some rarities. Well, this is kinda exactly what I needed. We're turning the code check down to commonplace. Treasure trove. Doesn't matter, it can stay unusual. The days we need it, we're just gonna use the king. Unless I ever wanna swap out the king for something else. So I'm suspecting we need to do that in order to do that the castle thing. Maybe. But I think but turn it down to standard. Yeah, you know what? It has an exit, so let's just turn it down to standard. Clock tower. Can turn that down to standard as well. I've only drawn it once. And we know there's a sanctum key in there somewhere. So let's do that. That should be good. Okay, is there a reason tunnel is like grayed out in here? It's the only floor plan that I've never drawn once. It is standard. Did we not add this to the collection or something? Maybe I should go out to the tunnel and check again. Maybe I just never grabbed it. Just hope I don't have to light the torches again. Oh my god, there it is. Finally. I even got a trading post today to be able to maybe trade in some stuff. I wonder, can I trade in these wind-up keys? That would be like really handy, maybe at some point. Okay, let's see if the floor plan is down here. These the torches are still lit. No, the floor plan isn't here. So why is it grayed out? Very, very strange. Okay, library. Let's go. Let's see if we can learn anything. What was this book? Curse of Blackbridge. Foreword. The legend of Blackbridge is one that's well known to the people of the Grand Realm. For versions of this tale has been passed down from generation to generation. With each new telling, the story has changed, becoming over the years more colorful, more verbose, and as one might expect, increasingly horrifying. However, with so many renditions and unique personal touches, the task of confining and binding this tale to text seemed an ambitious and impossible challenge. Over the course of my research, I have heard dozens of variations of the legend, and while the details would often change, I was surprised how much of the story's heart remained the same. Yet the more I listened, the clearer it became that there would never be a definitive version of this tale capable of capturing all the wonder and myth of Blackbridge. In the end, I chose to write down what felt most authentic. The story my grandmother told me as a boy long ago. Part 1. The Berry Picker from Oris. Dude, how long is this? What the fuck, dude? Well, here we go, I guess. I'll add a skipping timestamp or something if you don't want to hear this. Many years ago, before peace had become a familiar word, there lived a group of rogues so wayward that the locals deemed it appropriate to call their number the Unholy Hounds. They were feral outlaws composed of society's worst in a time when society was at its worst. And for each crime that fearful travelers credited to the group, A dozen more lay unclaimed, each worse than the last. For the gentry, however, who often valued their coffers more than their companions, no crime could measure more wicked than the group's primary enterprise, high road robbery. One such member of this so-called band of rogues was a boy of 13 years, Jesper, who had not been lucky in his life, having lost 2 brothers to war and parents to famine. In the years of hunger that followed, Jesper lived in a gutter behind a churchyard, relying on the nourishment of scurrium bugs and weeds harvested from the cracks of the alleyway to sustain his pitiful existence. It is not surprising that a child aiming to escape such hardship would take an easy road out, an easy and well-traveled road, paved with temptations, leading out of the city and into the gentry lands where loose purse strings entwine with the strands of salvation and glisten equally with the hope of opportunity. It was this road that eventually led Jesper to the end of his youth, a hidden cave at the bottom of Black Bridge Canyon. It was here that he met his surrogate family and saviors, that notorious gang of godless outlaws known as the Unholy Hounds. Despite the hardened circumstances that had led him to this vocation of banditry, Jesper was surprisingly tender-hearted and was often teased by the group for being too kind for such an ignoble life. For this reason, Jesper was assigned the innocent role of berry picker. It was not just innocence that set berry picking apart from the gang's more wicked undertakings, but it was the only duty performed without the safety of night's concealment. Jesper, no stranger to solitude, did not protest that he alone worked while the others slept soundly, tucked away in the cave at the bottom of Black Bridge Canyon. On one such occasion, Jesper decided to get an early start. He left the cave, berry basket in hand, and set out into the woods before the morning sun had even brushed against the tallest treetops. It was colder in the mornings, but the headway dawn afforded meant Jesper could reach the furthest most berry patches without worrying of being chastised for tarrying upon his return. It took over 3 hours on foot to reach his destination, and along the way Jesper had passed by many a familiar bush, all priory pillaged and so bereft of berries that one would have to dedicate several moments in earnest examination before finding a single one. Jesper was patient, but even patience had its limits. He was confident that even accounting for the time lost to this long stretch of travel, his efforts would be well worth the pains. Surveying the patches in this new grove surprised even Jesper. The red dots suspended among the leaves seemed as numerous as stars in the skies. Upon seeing such a bounteous sight, he clutched his berry basket tightly and nearly toppled over of joy. Once he had regained his senses, Jesper quickly made a decision. He would not reveal the location of this newfound treasure. Instead, he will earn the respect of his confederates who, upon seeing his yield, might attribute the success to hard work. Smiling at his plan, Jesper set off to fill his baskets and was making steady strides in this task when the sound of thundering hooves interrupted him. Don't really expect any secrets here, but you never know. A carriage is approaching. The thought of it made Jesper freeze. Had he been so enchanted by his discovery that he had neglected to observe his surroundings? How could a roadway be so close? He ducked down and crept towards the impeding sound, hiding behind one of the larger bushes nearby. It was only a moment more before the sound source revealed itself. Within 50 paces of where Jesper hid, an elegant carriage with gold trim came soaring around a corner of trees, led by 2 beautiful white horses and conveyed by a stern-looking driver seated atop the vehicle, flaunting the most sophisticated regalia Jesper had ever seen. It was not just any carriage, it was a royal carriage, even without ever having witnessed such a sight before, Jesper was certain. The sight had so transfixed Jesper that he stood awestruck, unable to tear away as the carriage approached. The little concealment of the bush provided was soon proven unequal to the driver's lofty perch, and upon spotting the boy, he pulled the reins with such effect that the noble steed slid to a sudden halt with precise control. "You boy, get out from behind that bush," he shouted with a rigidity that betrayed a modest amount of fear. "You startled me half to death, coming around the bend of my own drive, and me seeing such an unfamiliar face in a place where there ought not to be any face." Jesper quickly contemplated running. The man was much older, and his dress was suitable for a courtly behavior, not dashing through the bramble and mud. I was picking berries." Jesper raised the half-filled basket up to allow the driver to see the proof of his words. The demeanor of the man suddenly changed. It was a change that Jesper was familiar with. He had many times seen the same stern expression on the most fiendish bandits melt away when presented with a berry basket. Any suspicions that the driver might have had instantly evaporated, for even the notion of a member of the unholy hounds picking berries seemed farcical. The softened expression even made allowances for a smile. "Berries, eh? Say, you couldn't have picked a better spot for them, could you? I used to pick berries here as a boy." Jesper took this cue to finally step out from behind the bush, proudly brandishing his basket. "I know, and what luck I found them. I have only just begun picking, and look how many I have. It would have taken me fourfold the time back home to produce this number." The driver bent down for a closer look. "Where is your home, boy? It must be quite far." Jesper replied with a scripted response. "A little south of Tanner Fork, just past the burnt woods." Tanner Fork, that's mentioned in a new clue. "My god, that is far. You couldn't have come all the way only this morning." It was true. Tanner Fork was in the exact opposite direction that Jesper had traveled. While that response would seem perfectly reasonable in a location closer to Blackbridge Canyon, he could see why it might seem less believable here. "Sir, I have traveled much further for much less profit. I dare say there is no distance yet made by man that would not be worth undertaking for a price such as this. Surely you have tasted them yourself." Jesper felt happier with the response, as it seemed to amplify the man's smile. "In my youth, often, but perhaps I took it for granted, because I never had to travel very far. And even then, my father would always drive us here in our carriage. So I'm ashamed I never had to walk such a stretch to earn an equal reward." But Jesper's time to smile. "Now let my efforts reward us both today." He raised the basket even higher. "A taste in memory of your youth, sir." The driver chuckled and removed one glove, bending over the seat to reach down to the basket. And at the moment his finger touched the first berry, the dagger in turn met his throat, cutting through a superficial layer of skin and drawing blood. Jesper caught the man's startled eyes. "And for that taste, I will have your purse, sir, in memory of my youth." The driver's arm had gone stiff, his chin raised and trembling, more frightened than he had ever been before. Whether unable or incapable of speaking, he did not respond to the boy. Perhaps he did not think his jaw could afford to be engaged at this particular time. Jesper let his basket drop, freeing his other hand to probe the man's pockets. "Do not mistake me, sir. I will not kill you if you give me no cause. Though I will admit, the thought of taking your carriage and leaving you the indignity of walking appeals to me." Unable to find a purse in the man's coat, Jesper pivoted to search the seat under him. "Why have you no purse upon your person?" The driver slowly raised his hand cautiously, pointing towards the carriage door behind him. Jesper lowered the knife's edge a small degree to allow the man to speak, which he did in turn softly. "There is a lockbox in the carriage." "Well, come down then and grant me the courtesy of sparing your life and binding your hands. A concession, I assure you, of my tender heart, for it would be much easier to slit your throat. The man started to comply, slowly lowering himself for the driver's seat of the carriage. Once down, Jesper guided him away from the carriage to a nearby tree where he instructed him to get on his knees and put his hands behind his back. Excusing his inexperience, the man indulged Jesper while he figured out how to adequately bind him. The smile and kindness Jesper had seen on the man's face, now nothing more than a distant memory. In their place, cold dark eyes displaying no emotion. I wonder, should I grant you the same clemency you are showing me? Jesper stopped, surprised by the question, but ignored it, secured the final bindings and then hastily returned to the carriage. With one hand on the door's handle, he turned back to the man. If there is no lockbox, there will be no clemency. Inside, the carriage was surprisingly dusty and unswept, a stark contrast to the elegant and polished golden facade of the exterior. It had apparently been many years since a passenger had enjoyed passage in this vehicle. This all but confirmed what Jesper had suspected. The driver of this carriage was not a liveried servant in the employ of some greater master. Any curiosity that this observation might have further produced was quickly abandoned upon seeing what rested under the carriage back seat, a large wooden lockbox. Despite its hefty appearance, the box was surprisingly easy to handle. Within a few minutes, Jesper had dislodged it from its hold and carried it out into the sunlight, inspecting the box carefully. 2 observations were made. Totemic symbols found carved on all 4 sides of the box, into that the box was very old and likely not created by Aurelian hands. It reminded him of artifacts from the old world, and was presumably crafted in one of the ancient realms. Secondly, the box was secured by a rusted yet robust padlock, and would not open easily without a key. Jesper looked over to see the driver quietly observing from his indentured position. Do you perhaps have the key? You can provide me to open this box? Without emotion, the driver replied, there is no key to that box. Jesper stood up, easy enough then. He headed over to a nearby rock of sizable dimensions, and lifted the stone up, carrying it back to the box. There was ever a time when that lock had been resistant to brute force. It wasn't recent. With one hit, the stone had completely shattered the rusted lock. He bent back down and opened the lid. Inside was an effigy, a crude figure chiseled from stone. Without too much deliberation, Jesper bent down and picked it up, somewhat surprised how heavy it seemed, given how light the box had felt. Having expected to find something more akin to gold or gems, he looked questioningly to the man, hoping to find an explanation. The driver's smile had once again returned. You are cursed, boy. For deadly is the stone. You have opened that which should never have been opened, and you are cursed. Is that the cursed box from that we bought from the gift shop? Jesper carried the effigy over to the man and shoved it in front of his face. What is it? That's 1. Feeling his disappointment rising to anger now, Jesper tightened his grip on the effigy. 1 what? You mumbling, a gentor? And in God's name, why have you no purse upon your person? The man did not seem intimidated. 1 pace. He paused for effect. 12 more and you will be dead. He only had a second to flinch before the effigy struck him in the head and put an end to his cryptic ramblings. If there was ever a time when the old man had been resistant to brute force, it wasn't recent. Jesper looked down at the sculpted stone figure, now splattered red. Was it cursed? Was he cursed? He had of course heard stories of the curses, and I never doubted the validity in the past, but now that he was standing face to face with the possibility of being cursed, his mind pleaded with him to be skeptical. And if he was cursed, what difference would that knowledge make? A dozen more paces would not be enough to find another living soul, to say nothing of the chances of procuring a remedy. If he did not move from where he now stood, he could live maybe another 3 or 4 days, maybe more given the abundance of nearby berries. A plan that, if we ignore its obvious faults, might provide additional opportunities for help to come along. But what good would that do? To be discovered here, beside a body, stolen goods in hand, bloated from berries and raving about a curse that would very well not be real. No, it would most certainly be better to face one's fate now. Take a dozen paces and see if life goes on. But Jesper found his legs unable to make that first step. His mind was unable to convince his limbs to waste away 1/12 of his life in a single motion. Feeling the desperation sink in, he hopelessly looked about him for a solution. And if, by some stroke of luck, the gods had heard his plea, a miracle materialized before him, as if he found himself suddenly at the end of a fairy tale. 2 white horses and a carriage of golden trim were beside him, the answer to his immediate prayers. He laughed at his fortune and calculated a short number of paces back to the road. 4. Perhaps only 3 if he jumped. He made a quick survey to see if there was anything he wished to grab before taking the plunge. He thought about removing the driver's fancy coat, as that appeared to be of some value, but the additional risk of undertaking such a task, too great to chance, and so, after a profound breath, he took his 2nd, 3rd and 4th steps, though they were quite large. Seated now behind the horses, he reached for the reins and suddenly realized that he was still gripping the effigy. If the curse was real, then it would most certainly be better left here. If on the other hand the story was fictitious, there might be some appraisal that could be made of the figure. It was, after all, found within a lockbox, whose typical function oft secures objects of value. Having witnessed firsthand the horrors of destitution, Jesper found his mind equally reluctant to allow his hand let go. If it is cursed, I die. If not today, then tomorrow. And if I die, what care have I? And with the statement said aloud, to the horses seemingly, Jesper took up the reins with confidence. Part 2. Below the Black Bridge. Miller awoke to some light nudging from a familiar foot. Only one person would have the cheek to awaken her in such ill-mannered fashion. Shaking the sleep from her eyes, she glared up at him in the darkness, but did not say a word. He nudged her again teasingly, then stepped back into the dim. After taking a moment for her eyes to adjust to the darkness of the cave, Miller remembered she was on 3rd watch today. Quietly collecting her things and wits, Miller turned as she left, waving to her young friend, who was more than likely already asleep. She crept through the cavern's main passage, careful not to wake the sleeping bandits around her. Like a hero in a book, she often mused. Quietly she grabbed a bow from the haphazardly formed pile of weapons, shaking the accompanying quiver in the darkness to assess how many arrows it held. She then walked towards the sun-drenched mouth of the cavern, ready to start her shift. Above her, in one of the few trees found in the canyon, Miller could see that Ravia was already posted. She waved, and Ravia waved back. Calling out to each other was strictly forbidden. Anything louder than a gesture in the canyon was forbidden. When Miller reached the tree, Ravia lowered a braided rope and pointed to the ground behind her. Miller turned, following the finger, and saw a pail of water resting beside a nearby log. He turned back to Ravia, nodded and secured the pail to the rope. The pail went up first, and in turn Miller followed. Ravia reached across to grab the water. Miller leaned back to give her space. There was not much room for maneuvering in this tree post. A necessary concession for the concealment the outpost demanded. Ravia tilted the pail up to her mouth dramatically, illustrating how thirsty she had been. Miller laughed silently as the water poured out, splashing onto Ravia's face. It was a bit too daring and noisy of a joke, and had others been around they would have certainly been scolded for the unwarranted sound, but Miller appreciated the efforts Rabia took to verbalize the silence of the morning. They had been on third watch together for over a month, and during that speechless time, their friendship had grown into something special. Affection was unsurprisingly scarce among the unholy hounds. She had felt camaraderie before, of course, but intimacy never. From their elevated vantage, the girls could see both the concealed entrance of the cavern as well as a clear view of the bridge that spanned across the canyon. Black Bridge was the link between the Gentry lands and the northern mountains, the overpass that connected Oris to Reddington. That could be important. To the city-faring travelers of the realm, the bridge was an unavoidable crossing. In the day, the task was to ensure that travelers passed by without stopping. At night, the task was to ensure that they do. Like most of her band, Miller preferred the night. The biting glare of the sun might be tolerable to farmhands and bricklayers. To a cavern-housed bandit was a source of constant annoyance. In the day, there was no shroud to conceal her expressions, nor to hide her thoughts. She felt exposed. Rabia touched her elbow and pointed up. Miller, striving to suppress a budding smile, suddenly shook her head in response. There were many signs that the unholy hounds used in lieu of words, but the two of them had developed an extended vocabulary. Gestures quietly forged in the shared solitude of their month among the branches. She watched as Rabia shifted, placing her palms flat on the floorboards beneath them. Miller knew what she was trying to say, but shook her head a second time. It was often more fun to pretend not to understand. Rabia rolled her eyes and turned away, looking back to the canyon. Squinting through the leaves, the two girls held still, watching and listening. It was not long until Miller too heard the sounds of approach. Rabia held up two bent fingers, and a few moments later 2 men emerged from the bridge's southern end. They were dressed in a familiar uniform, long grey coats with black facings, white waistcoats and black tricorn hats. They belonged to the local patrol, the Black Guard. Although not an everyday occurrence, their presence at Black Bridge wasn't an unusual sight. It typically indicated an important traveler's impending passage across the bridge, information that the girls would promptly relay to their leaders as soon as the coast was clear. But this report, while exciting, was rarely acted upon. In Miller's 5 years in the Unholy Hounds, she had never once seen a carriage taken in open daylight when the Blackguard was nearby. The men had nearly reached the bridge north end when Miller heard the horses, faintly at first, but growing louder with each passing moment. Ravia's eyes met Miller's, the same concern mirrored in each other's expression. This did not sound like a typical carriage. Cautiously approaching the bridge to cross. Instead, the familiar crunch of the high road's gravel, they heard the harsh clattering of hoofbeats against stone. Both girls quickly redirected their attention downwards, looking through the foliage. The sounds were not coming from the high road, but from the canyon itself. The horses were coming from below the bridge. In an instant, Miller had nooked an arrow and drawn her bow. Go. Rabia was gone before the whisper had even left Miller's mouth. The young scout was already sliding down the bank below, racing towards the cave. There was no road that ran below the canyon. There was no reason for numerous horses to be approaching their cave. There was only one reasonable conclusion, and both girls had reached it instantly. The base had been compromised. This was a Blackguard attack. The moment the horses came into view, Miller let loose her first arrow. She was surprised to see a carriage. She had expected cavalry. Before she even finished processing that thought, her second arrow was in the air. Without a trail, it would be unthinkable for a carriage to traverse such rough terrain. Yet she watched as the wheel jolted over the rocky riverbed. A third arrow was now in flight, and there would be no need for a fourth. The driver slumped over just moments before the vehicle dipped into a small ditch, slamming into an embankment. The force of this sudden halt immediately shattered the front 2 wheels and catapulted the driver from his seat. Utterly confused now, Miller's quickly glanced over her shoulder to see if any horses were also approaching from the rear. Down the canyon, the entire horde of the unholy hounds came spilling forth from the earth, as if hell itself had suddenly sprung open. The group seemed even more bewildered than Miller, half asleep and tripping over one another in a desperate attempt to engage an unseen enemy in combat. Miller could see Rabia among their number, the only one looking up at her. Her expression was chilling. There would be no need for a silent gesture to convey what they both now realized. They had made a mistake. The gang chieftain, Joffrey Heartslasher, led the others, cautiously approaching the crashed carriage, like a suspicious fox would near a baited trap. There were no words exchanged as the group crept forward in customary silence. A dozen or so paces in front of the wreckage lay the far-flung driver, an arrow protruding from his broken body, and beside him a blood-stained effigy carved from stone. Miller was inconsolable. Jesper had always been her favorite. He had always shadowed her in the night, clinging to the helms of her every move, the way a child tails behind an older sibling. Tender-hearted, he had always called him, though deep down she had known that wasn't quite true. His appearance of gentleness concealed a raw, resilient durability that emerged in the most perilous of situations. He had been a flower among the nettles of his cave, but he still had thorns, horned by a grim past and 100 hands of misfortune. They buried him in the darkness, and back of one of the larger cabin rooms. He was interred with a berry basket and a silk handkerchief that he had treasured. The mysterious effigy they had found beside him served as a distinguished gravestone, a marker that stood out as somewhat special among the rows of similar swords marking neighboring plots. No one spoke, not even in whispers. There was nothing to say. I mean, that's the symbol for... Is that the Black Bridge symbol? Maybe. Miller awoke the next day to a thunderous shaking and rattling of the earth, far cry from the playful nudging of the previous day. She strained to adjust her eyes, but the choking string of stirred up dust caused her to flinch. Panic was also in the air. The sound of scurried footsteps and clattering feet filled the space around her, but even in alarm, the silence was louder. What was it that sounded so strange? Miller closed her eyes tight and used her feet to guide her along the passage. The whispers around her were getting louder, and intense voices could be heard ahead. Louder speech than she had ever heard spoken in the canyon. A growing dread grew as Miller approached the mouth of the cave, her eyes now open wide despite the dust. Shouldn't it be day? Miller felt a hand in the darkness, pulling at her. It was Rabia. The two embraced, and Miller did not need to see her to understand. Rabia placed two bent fingers against Miller's cheek, and with that touch against her face, Miller felt the same sinking feeling from that previous day. Two bent fingers confirmed what Miller had suspected. The girls had forgotten to relay one critical piece of information to the others. An hour or so later, the screams began. Blood-curdling cries of hopeless desperation. Captain Fodrick Lee of the Blackguard looked down from the ridge of the canyon to the collapsed entrance of the cave. Ah, he grinned. Now they speak. And that's it. Alright, well, if you skipped ahead, there was a bit of lore about the cursed coffin we bought for the shrine. There's also a mention of... Where is it? Tanner... something. Tanner Fork. See here, in a new clue. Yeah, look. To Tanner Fork. What does that mean? No idea. Alright, I'm gonna keep going here and see if we can get a code check. And then we're gonna end the day, I guess. Laundry room. You know what? Let's check out the laundry. We have never drafted this room before. This is where the power is going to. Can't interact with it. Oh. This service costs 5 and will exchange all of your gems with all of your coins. Exchange your keys with all of your gems. Change your keys with all of your coins. Well, we can get 80... well, 78 coins if we buy this. Or keys. That's crazy. Alright, well I can see how this can be useful. Especially now that we have a lot of coins at the start of every run. Now it does exchange all, which will leave us with 0 coins. Which is kind of bad. I don't think I'm gonna do it, at least not right now. We don't need anything. Alright, found it. Give me the shovel and check the magnifying glass. Alright, we have a few more doors. Let me just see if we can draft something cool. Got the secret passage. And looking at this, there's no black book and there's no blue book either. Is there any other color I'm missing? No, we're missing blue and black from this. Relevant? No idea. Oh wow, look at this. Got the great hall. And we have 79 keys and a lockpick. What the fuck, dude? Well, I'll take that. Let's just open all of them. I'm not sure if I ever opened all of them. You know what would be great right now? A locker room. We don't have a pool though, so... I don't even know what I'm looking for here. We already got an upgrade disc and I assume we can't get more. Wow. Wait, there's not even a lever though. Unless it's in here. Wait. Oh, there it is. Might as well. Oh wow, the tunnel. Wait, really? I haven't been in here before. Wait, so... now it's lit up? Maybe that was just because we never drafted it. Very weird. Where are we? Well, we can reach the antechamber. I don't have a quest bedroom. Wow, it's right here. What happens if I tunnel again? Have we ever had a door on the outside like this? I mean, we gotta fuck the antechamber, man. Is it just closed off? There's more a J here. Really? Okay. Well, we're getting our allowance done. Okay, this is a symbol I've never seen before. An orange. What are these? Can I even do anything here? Okay, these are the... this is the rotating one. Oh. Okay. Okay, we got an allowance token anyway. Okay, here's the grill. Can we dig under it? Oh, we can. File cabinet. Oh, we need the archives now. That's how you're supposed to do it. Holy shit. Well, I've actually had the opportunity to draft archives several times. And it would be awesome if we got it right now. Showroom. Wish I had some money left. Archives. I don't think we can draft. Oh! Music room on rank 8. Sanctum key, dude. We did it. Give me that. That was our last draft too, I think. No, we can draft in the foundation actually. Can't. Our only chance left to get an archives is right here. Well, we have this, but I don't want to go in here. Especially not with a sanctum key. Right, I think I'm just gonna head to the foundation and get another sanctum door open. So this file cabinet stuff is gonna have to wait. Because I'm not getting rid of the magnifying glass until we have looked at a new clue. Right, our only chance is to draft it from the dark room. Well, I don't think it has a gem requirement, so... Fucking furnace, man. I can't wait to get the furnace in the conservatory. Just bump it up to rare. Fuck that room. Okay, so I guess we're just gonna open the next one then. Might as well. This is the one. This is the orange one we just did a Moraj for. But I think we need to open all of them to actually do, like, we can open all of them before doing the puzzles in there, because I don't think the information we get in here are gonna help with actually getting the keys. So let's go. See if there's anything special in here. No, looks just like the other ones. Alright. I'm just gonna go back and end the day in the break room for a free key card. And we should be on to the next day. Oh, look at this. Oh my god, we got rerolls and stuff. Fuck, I should have come back here earlier. I got this from the observatory. 2 rerolls. Could have used for the archives. Ah, whatever, man. Kinda a big house today. Only missing 3 squares. Even though I didn't really care about drafting, I was just going forward and seeing if we could get some cool rooms. But let's call it day 45. So no new book today, but we need to draft the library anyway. And I think we're gonna order a new clue again. Right, library. Let's see, new clue. There we go. Actually, I got the code check too, but won't be of much use. Okay, you know what? Let's see if that A key thing works. I think we just need to go in here. Go to remote terminal access. View active terminals. Okay, doesn't work. Oh, the A key actually just moves the cursor. Okay, well. Okay, found the foyer again. I'm actually gonna take a screenshot of all of this. Actually, where is that guy? Yeah, this guy was the count. Count Gates. Oh wow, there's a battery in here. I've never seen an item in here before. That is crazy. Alright, well. I think I'm just gonna end it here. I really need to read that book. Day 46. It's time to get a new clue. Oh wow, check this out. We drew the library while having the reading nook. Does this mean I can have 2 libraries now? Because this says you always draw library. That would be really, really good actually. But there's a new clue. I still have to find the code check though. There it is. Gimme, gimme. Okay, let's see what we can get. Anything on the front page or the cover? Not really. Okay, let's start checking shit. Well, this just seems like scribbling. This is more zoomed in than usual. I feel like it is. Okay, let's see what this says. Corner cases. Oh, suspect list. Hang on. I'm just gonna screenshot everything in here. So what does it say? Suspect list. Rose Ball, Richard Scott. Any names Is there 2 copies of the same thing? Okay, not gonna think too hard about it. I'm just here to look for clues. I'm probably gonna think about all this stuff between videos or something. Don't really see anything else here. Now here we have keep left. And we have the 2 things in the tomb, and he's clearly in the tomb. So I think once we light these, this keep left thing maybe will come in handy. Or something. There's this brick here with like a pattern on it. I don't see anything on this page that's zoomable. 2 Tanner Fork. Why do they have no faces, man? Pretty creepy. Nothing really zoomable on this page either. Now here we have times. It's 6:05. There's this guy with like an arrow behind here. Of course, have these book names. Uncle A. I wonder if these are... If you can shuffle the letters here in all of these book names, we might get something different. Because they're pretty weirdly named, right? And we know Draft the Sixes is fixed... The fixed stars or whatever. So that might be something to look into at some point. Nothing really zoomable here either. What about here? Dead end. Mary Mary. Is that a horse? What is Gates? I have to look that up. Lure Your. I don't see anything zoomable here. He's looking at his blueprint. Record. Where is he? Like, this is obviously the floor plan of the house. It might just be an artist's rendition of drafting here. Now here, each. This is very sus. What does it say each? I don't know. Nothing zoomable. Now here we have some stuff. Seen all the signs. Dead end and mayor key. X, Y, Z, A, B, C. What the fuck? Oh my god, I can barely read it even now. Assume page count starts on title pages. Red, green, violet, blue. X, Y, Z, A, B, C. What the fuck does this say? After... No tome after tome that the library... something. And the books that be... bed that be already... word? Were reached from their... something all the way through. If he found a new clue, he'd know what to do. Oh, this is a passage from this book. Something with a library. Yeah, this one. Okay, so this page... Oh my god. So, library circled. And this says... Let's see. We searched from their covers all the way through. Covers? Yeah, red, green, blue, violet. All the way through. Oh shit, wait. Page A, word X. I think I get it. Oh, we're gonna have to do a lot more with the library. We're gonna need to take all the books out again. So I don't remember their covers. What color they have. We need to take the green or the red, and you see what we're supposed to do here. So we take the red book out, whichever that one is, and then we go to page A, which is page 4, and then to word X, which is the first one. And this is gonna make a message. Some page can't start on the title. Oh my god, man. This is fucking crazy. Okay, well now we know what this says. What about this? Seen all the signs. There's a red. Oh. It's like 2 5-letter words. Dead end. Major key. XYZ ABC. Dead end is C. I think that's... Oh. There's this, of course. Okay, major. It ends in jor. Which... Jor equals name. What do we do with that information, though? I'm not sure. We have this. Suspect is key. The suspect is minor. Major, minor. Minor. But nor doesn't mean anything. This game is fucking insane. That's the last page. Okay, I might need to go through all my footage and check what color different books have. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter in which order we pull them out. Jesus Christ. Is this relevant somehow? Has happened to draft a secret passage here? Red? I mean, we obviously can't read these. So, probably not. Oh no, wait. We do have the books right here. Red, green, purple, blue. Yeah. But these are the books we need to get. And I guess I need to shuffle the words around. I mean, we can look at the book list in... I assume if we draft another library, it's gonna give us a way to check out the new book. Well, let me head over there. Can I draft another library here? I sure can. Where's our gem here? Oh well. Okay. Let's see if we can shuffle some words around. So we know the fixed stars is draft the 6s. See, we have Uncle A. Is there a book here with a U in it? Curse of the Black Bridge? That seems a bit long. Realm and Rune. Uncle A is a new clue. Oh, okay, I need to type this shit down. Okay, what's next? Tender Cipher. Could it be the Red Prince? Because it has... Right, hang on. Let's see. T-H-E. Red. Yeah. It's the Red Prince. Which is located in... is it the nurse bedroom? The nurse's station? I think so. No, I kind of feel like I'm getting way ahead of myself here. I don't think this has to do with the sanctum keys. It seems like something else, to be honest. But let's continue. What's next? We have Lunar Renamed. I think it's Realm and Rune. Makes sense to me. There we go. And one more? No, that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all we needed, right? Yes. Okay. Well then. Okay, we can actually do one of them right now though. But I wonder, like, what is the actual end goal here? We're getting a word. We're getting 4 words from this. The red one we can't get, that's a red prince. The green one, we can do the violet one right now. We might be able to do the blue one. Do we have an observatory? Of course we don't. And I've kinda locked ourselves in here as well. I guess we can't get out from the secret passage. But okay, so I think we only need this one actually. This is the only book we need to order from the library in order to solve this puzzle. So let's order that one and let's head back to the other library. So let's see, we need page B, word Y, which is page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, page 5, and we count this as one page. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What did they say again? Research covers all the way through. Assume page count start on title pages. Is this a title page? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or is it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? It's pretty unclear. I guess we can take both. So word Y would be looked. Or is this page 1 maybe? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it could be had, I guess. I feel like looked make more sense though. Okay, well we still have... We can draft like the nurse's station here maybe. With this, if we go purple in here. And I'm having trouble keeping all this in my head, dude. Even with my notes. Nurse's station. Fuck you. Or is it in the quest bedroom? No, it's not. It's not. Well, I guess this will let us continue drafting at least. See if we can make something happen here. Well, there's the observatory. Should have the fixed stars in it. Okay. So this should be... Is this book even blue? Looks more green to me. Let's see. Page Z, which is page 3. Is this 2? Word X is first. North? Or maybe this. North or this. Well, looked north makes sense as the 2 last words. This puzzle is fucking insane, actually. Let me look through this. 30 stars today? Look at this. Really needed that key too, nice. Okay, so we can still find the nurse's station. That would be pretty epic. No, we are locked out. Actually, let's head back to the mechanarium. Let's see if we got another door from adding another room. No, we don't. Okay. So it only adds the rooms when we draft it. Okay, so what we need to do next is get our hands on a copy of the Red Prince and Realm and Rune. Realm and Rune we have put in an order for. So that will arrive tomorrow. And for the Red Prince we just need to get the nurse's station, which should be pretty easy as well. So for now, let's head back to the code check and turn in this magnifying glass. Oh wait, we can get keys here actually. It's not over yet. Well, It's not a nurse's station, but... Okay, so classroom. I think... Oh, kennel. Each time you dig in a room, unlock all doors in that room. That seems pretty good though. Now the thing with adding a classroom here, I was pretty confused the first time I saw this, but I think I figured it out. The outside room gives us 8 classrooms, right? So having this in the regular pool would allow us to go to grade 9, which might have something special in it. So eventually this is something we want to do. Like drafting 9 classrooms in one run seems crazy to pull off though. I think we're gonna leave that for later. I want the kennel. Home to several of Sinclair's hunting companions. It can be assumed these friendly hounds have been anxious to meet their new master. Or there's actually dogs in there? Well, easy choice. Nurse's station? Well, conservatory, don't mind if I do. Okay, Chamber of Mirrors. This also seems like an insane room. We need to access it from... I think if we access it from one side and click this button, the other side opens. So I think we just need to be able to open it from the opposite side in order to click the button in the middle. But I wonder if that's gonna just give us an upgrade disc or something. I might turn this down to unusual though. Break room, commonplace, locksmith. It can stay unusual as well. Nurse's station. Man. Yeah, it's over. I haven't been in here in a long time. Special key. Lockpick kit. Man, they should have sold a key card in here. What even is the special key we get here? Wow. The garden key. Very epic. Hello? Take my magnifying glass. Here we go. We might not even need it anymore, but just in case. And let's call it a day. Oh, big day. Big day today. Holy shit. What is this even gonna give us in the end? A 4-word message ending in looked north. I know we're gonna have to see. But that's gonna be it for today. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.